This is Marc Rudov, branding advisor to CEOs and author of Be Unique or Be Ignored, the CEO's Guide to Branding. Today's topic: your sales reps are taxi meters. That's right. Time is money and the meter's always running. The biggest complaint that prospects and customers have about sales reps is they're not prepared for sales calls. They're not prepared. They don't know the customer, which is an insult. They don't know their own companies very well, and they come with the wrong literature or literature that doesn't really explain anything. Now, the average across all industries for the cost of a sales call is $600, and it often takes 5 sales calls to close a sale. This is expensive. Talk is expensive. Your sales reps are taxi meters. Time is money. The meter's always running. Recently, I was at a trade show for medical instrumentation. I went up to a booth to talk to a CEO of his company, and he started lamenting that his biggest problem is that customers don't understand the product. So he even asked me if I knew of very, very technical people who could sell to explain the product. I said, you have the opposite problem. You want people who are less technical, who can explain the value of the product quickly and not dive down into the arcane weeds, because it takes too long to explain it, and I'll bet you have to repeat it over and over and over again. He said, that's right, that's exactly the problem. And my response to him: you're describing the innards of the product, and you're not explaining the value of the product, why the customers need it. And a person with very limited technological background should be able to do that for you. You should be able to articulate your company's brand in 15 seconds without describing your product, your technology, your SIC code, or using industry jargon. You must use customer language so that the customers can react to it, remember it, and repeat it. And of course, get out their wallets to buy your product or service. And if you can't do that, you're uncompetitive, you're commodity-like, and that's your problem. And the way you just described it to me, sir, that is your problem. You see, when you have a strong brand, which means a strong customer-validated value proposition, then customers understand exactly what you're doing because you're using their language. You're expressing their pain. They identify with it. And it doesn't take a detailed person to do that, meaning detailed in technology. So you want to take it to the other extreme. You want to be more technical and more arcane. And what are you doing? You're driving up your cost of sales. What you say dictates what they pay. That's right. What you say dictates what they pay. The harder it is to understand you, the less they'll pay. Jargon squeezes margin. What does that mean? When you use jargon, you sound like your competitors. You're a commodity, so your selling price comes down. You cannot demand a premium if you're not unique. If you're just like your competitors, you cannot demand a premium. And then from the bottom, your cost of sales increases because it takes longer to explain it, and you have to explain it more frequently. You have to have more meetings, more phone calls, more FedExes, more emails. So you have the price coming down at the top, the cost of sales from the bottom, and you're squeezing your margin. That's what you're doing. He agreed with that, but he's a stickler for his ways. He's stuck in his ways, and he was kind of insulted by my suggestion that he use less technical people to sell his product, and that's very common. Sales reps need direction. If you don't have a strong brand, they don't know what to say. I'm going to repeat what I said before. It's so crucial that it does bear repeating. The biggest complaint customers and prospects have about sales reps is that they're not prepared. They show up, they don't understand the prospect's companies. They don't even understand their own companies. They bring literature that doesn't really explain anything. They're not prepared because they're not trained properly. Now, if you're a CEO, this should be a huge red flag for you. But based on my conversations with CEOs, it's not a red flag. If you're on the board of directors and you know this is happening in your company and you're allowing it, you're tolerating it, shame on you. Again, sales reps are taxi meters. Time is money. The meter's always running. You know that when you're stuck in traffic in a taxi and there's gridlock, that meter is still running. And you start fuming because you're angry that you have to pay when you're not even moving. You need to think of your sales rep as a taxi meter. That's exactly what's happening. If you don't care about your costs and your profit margins, I don't know why you're the CEO. And if you're on the board of directors, I'll say it again. If you know this is happening and you're tolerating it, shame on you, because you're not representing your shareholders. You're supposed to maximize shareholder wealth, not minimize it. This is a big deal. And don't ever use the excuse, well, sales reps are too expensive, I'll just rely on social media. That's a bunch of crap. You can't sell anything on social media, unless you're Kim Kardashian and you're selling jewelry or nudity. But if you're trying to sell a serious product, you can't do it on social media, which means you have to train your salespeople properly. Sales reps are taxi meters, and you want that meter to run slowly, and you want to keep the costs down. The only way you're going to do that, is to create a strong brand, which is a customer-validated value proposition. And not only does the outside world have to understand that brand, but all of your employees, and especially your sales reps, have to understand that brand. So when they go out as emissaries of your company to visit prospects, they all have to use the same script. That's up to you, the CEO. Now, if you're having trouble doing that, I can help you. That's what I do. Contact me, Marc Rudov, at marcrudov.com. Remember, be unique or be ignored.